7 signs of a lone wolf personality. There's something undeniably powerful about the idea of the lone wolf. It's not just a figure in stories, it's a personality type, a way of life, a mindset. In a world that constantly urges us to blend in, to follow the crowd, to be a part of something bigger, the lone wolf stands firm, walking to the beat of their own drum. It's easy to dismiss this type of person as someone who's isolated or disconnected, but in reality, the lone wolf is one of the most self-aware, independent, and resilient individuals you'll ever meet. They don't fit into a mold. They create their own path, and they walk it with confidence. Have you ever felt like you didn't quite belong in social circles? Like you were always a little bit different from the rest? A bit more comfortable in your own space? You're not alone in that feeling. There's a deep sense of fulfillment that comes from independence, from choosing your own way when the world tries to push you down a certain road. And that's what it means to be a lone wolf. It's about having the courage to go against the grain, to stand firm in your beliefs, and to embrace your uniqueness, even when it feels like everyone else is following the same routine. The lone wolf doesn't need validation from others. They validate themselves. But being a lone wolf isn't about isolation or rejection of the world around you. It's about strength, emotional resilience, and a profound understanding of oneself. Lone wolves know that they don't need anyone to tell them what to do or how to think. They rely on themselves to navigate through life, trusting their instincts, their wisdom, and their own decisions. This self-reliance is what makes them strong, capable, and unstoppable. They don't wait for opportunities to come to them. They create their own. Maybe you've always been the kind of person who questions the status quo, who looks at the world with a critical eye and prefers solitude to the chaos of social gatherings. It's easy to feel like there's something wrong with you when society pushes you to blend in and be normal. But here's the truth. You're not broken. You're not flawed. You're just different. And that difference is what makes you extraordinary. Being a lone wolf means you're strong enough to trust your own instincts and brave enough to forge your own path, regardless of the expectations others place on you. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the 7 signs that you might be a lone wolf. We'll talk about the traits that define this powerful personality, the strengths that come with it, and why being a lone wolf isn't something to shy away from, but something to embrace. So, if you've ever felt like you don't quite fit into the mainstream, or if you've always preferred your own company, this is for you. Let's explore what it means to truly live life on your own terms. Because if you've ever walked this path, you already know. There's power in walking alone. Number 1, independent thinkers who don't conform to social norms. There's a certain kind of freedom that comes from thinking for yourself. It's the freedom to see the world for what it is, not what others tell you it should be. Lone wolves are natural-born, independent thinkers. They don't follow the crowd. They don't feel the need to conform to social norms or expectations. Instead, they chart their own course, building their lives on their own terms. You've probably noticed how society often pushes us into a mold. People around us have a tendency to tell us how to think, what to wear, what to say, and even what to believe. From a young age, we're told to follow a set path, to fit in with the crowd. The world celebrates conformity, and those who stray from it are often seen as outliers. But the lone wolf doesn't need approval. They don't need to blend in. They've learned that true fulfillment comes from embracing their uniqueness, from thinking for themselves, and from choosing a path that resonates with their inner truth. Being a lone wolf means challenging the status quo, rejecting the pressures that society places on us, and instead daring to walk a different path. They are the ones who question everything. They see the world with a critical eye and don't just accept things at face value. They seek deeper truths, often going against the grain in search of their own answers. They're not afraid to stand alone in their beliefs, even if it means going against the flow. This mindset is what gives them a certain power, because when you don't conform, when you don't follow the crowd, you open up the door to a whole new world of possibilities. The lone wolf doesn't need validation from others. They create their own sense of worth and in doing so inspire others to think for themselves. If you're someone who's always felt a pull to live differently, to think outside the box, then you might just be a lone wolf too. And that's something worth celebrating. Number 2, highly self-reliant. There's a quiet strength in self-reliance, a kind of independence that few can truly understand. Lone wolves don't wait for others to step in and save them. They don't expect anyone to solve their problems for them. They trust themselves above all else. This self-reliance is more than just a personality trait. It's a way of life. From an early age, lone wolves learn that the world doesn't always offer a helping hand. They understand that if they want something, they have to go out and get it themselves. Whether it's solving a problem at work, figuring out how to make a big decision, or dealing with life's inevitable challenges, they don't turn to others for solutions. Instead, they trust their own instincts, their own resourcefulness, and their own ability to figure things out. This "I'll figure it out" attitude is powerful. It's a mindset that not only makes them incredibly resilient, but also self-sufficient in ways most people can't fathom. When faced with a challenge, the lone wolf doesn't crumble. They don't give up. Instead, they rise to the occasion, knowing that they have everything they need inside themselves to succeed. There's no one coming to save them, and that's perfectly fine with them. They don't need anyone else's help to thrive. This self-reliance allows them to maintain control over their own lives. They don't have to rely on others to feel secure or successful. The lone wolf doesn't look for external validation, because they know that true power comes from within. When they set their sights on a goal, they know it's up to them to make it happen. This unwavering belief in their own abilities is what drives them forward, allowing them to achieve things others might only dream of. In a world where many people are constantly searching for approval or assistance, the lone wolf stands apart. They take full responsibility for their actions, their successes, and their failures. And in doing so, they cultivate a sense of independence that gives them the freedom to live life exactly how they want to. So, if you find yourself taking pride in figuring things out on your own, if you don't rely on anyone else to define your worth or make decisions for you, then you're not just self-reliant. You're a lone wolf, and that's a strength that will take you far in life. Number 3, strong work ethic. Lone wolves are driven by an inner fire, an unwavering determination to succeed no matter what. They know that success doesn't come from waiting around for opportunities to knock. It comes from the work they put in when no one is watching. There's a certain pride in knowing that every step forward, every milestone achieved, is the result of their own hard work, discipline, and persistence. For the lone wolf, laziness is never an option. They understand that to get ahead in life, they must keep pushing forward, even when it's tough. While others might rely on external motivation or look for shortcuts, the lone wolf stays focused on their own goals, committed to doing what needs to be done. They don't need a boss to tell them what to do. They set their own pace, set their own standards, and hold themselves accountable. This relentless work ethic isn't born out of obligation, but out of a deep personal desire to reach their full potential. Lone wolves know that no one else is coming to do the work for them, No one is going to put in the effort to build the life they want. So, they embrace the grind, knowing that every ounce of energy they invest now will pay off in the future. They also recognize that success is a journey, not a destination. There's no instant gratification, no quick fixes. The lone wolf works for the long-term reward, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. Their dedication doesn't waver, because they know that the path they're walking is their own, and they're willing to do the work to make it a reality. If you're someone who finds satisfaction in the process, who takes pride in working hard and achieving things through sheer effort and perseverance, then you might be a lone wolf. This is the trait that sets the lone wolf apart from the rest. They're not afraid to put in the hard work day after day, because they know it's the only way to achieve true success. And in the end, when they look back on what they've accomplished, they can proudly say that it was all worth it. Number 4. Unique perspectives. Lone wolves have a gift. They see the world through a different lens. While the rest of the world might follow trends, repeat what they hear, or simply go along with what's popular, the lone wolf steps back and observes. They don't let the opinions of others dictate how they view the world. Instead, they create their own understanding, one that's uniquely theirs. This ability to think outside the box, to see things from a fresh and untainted perspective, is what sets the lone wolf apart. They aren't swayed by popular opinions or mainstream beliefs. They're not afraid to go against the grain if it means staying true to their own vision. In fact, they often thrive when they find themselves questioning the status quo and seeking alternative answers. They don't accept things just because they've always been that way. Instead, they ask the tough questions, look for the deeper meanings, and trust their instincts to guide them. For the lone wolf, this unique perspective isn't just about being different for the sake of it. It's about finding truth in a world that often seems lost in noise. They believe that there's always more than one way to see a situation, and they're not afraid to challenge the narrative if it doesn't align with their values or understanding. This independent thinking allows them to come up with innovative solutions, unconventional ideas, and original thoughts that others may overlook. The lone wolf's perspective isn't clouded by the opinions of others. They've learned to listen to their inner voice, to trust their gut, and to follow their own intuition. And this ability to carve out their own path, to trust their own viewpoint, is what allows them to stand out in a world that often values conformity over creativity. If you find yourself questioning conventional wisdom, if you've always felt that the world has more to offer than what's immediately visible, you may be a lone wolf. Embracing this unique perspective gives you the ability to see things that others can't, to think in ways that others won't. And it's this ability to think independently that often leads to groundbreaking insights and innovative ideas. When you walk your own path, you don't just see things differently, you create new possibilities. Number 5. Emotional resilience. Lone wolves are some of the most emotionally resilient people you'll meet. They have an incredible ability to weather life's storms without letting them break them. Life throws its challenges, disappointments, and setbacks at everyone, but the lone wolf faces them head-on, unshaken, and unyielding. They know that pain, sorrow, and frustration are a part of life. But they've learned how to handle these emotions in ways that others can't quite understand. Emotional resilience isn't about being cold or detached. It's not about avoiding emotions altogether. Instead, it's about understanding that emotions are temporary, and it's our response to them that matters most. Lone wolves don't rely on others for emotional support. They've learned to build their own emotional foundation. They know that happiness, fulfillment, and peace must come from within, not from external sources. This understanding allows them to bounce back quicker from hardships, because they don't tie their sense of worth to the opinions or actions of others. They create their own inner peace. This emotional independence doesn't mean lone wolves don't feel deeply. They feel more than most, but they've learned how to navigate their emotions in a healthy, productive way. They process their feelings, learn from them, and grow stronger because of them. They don't dwell on the past or seek validation from others. Instead, they focus on what they can control, using their emotional experiences as fuel for their growth. Being emotionally resilient is one of the most empowering traits of the lone wolf. It's the ability to stand tall in the face of adversity and keep moving forward, no matter how tough life gets. They don't need anyone to pick them up when they fall. They pick themselves up. They've learned that they are their own source of strength, and with that comes a quiet, unshakable confidence. If you've ever faced a difficult situation and managed to stay calm, focused, and collected, if you've learned to take your emotional challenges in stride, then you are more emotionally resilient than you might realize. And that resilience is one of the key traits that make the lone wolf so powerful. It's the foundation upon which all their other strengths are built. Number 6, deep thinking and introspection. Lone wolves are thinkers. They spend a great deal of time exploring their thoughts and emotions, diving deep into the recesses of their minds. It's through introspection that they gain a true understanding of themselves, their desires, and the world around them. While many people are content to go through life on autopilot, following the paths others have laid out, the lone wolf constantly questions, reflects, and seeks deeper meaning. This deep thinking isn't just about thinking for the sake of it. It's about self-awareness, gaining clarity on who they are, what drives them, and why they do the things they do. Lone wolves are not afraid to look inward, to confront their own fears, insecurities, and flaws. It's this self-exploration that makes them mentally stronger and more emotionally intelligent. They understand their strengths, their weaknesses, and everything in between. They don't run from their emotions or avoid difficult truths. They face them head-on and learn from them. Introspection gives the lone wolf a unique perspective on life. It allows them to navigate the ups and downs of their personal journey with a calm, steady mind. They can process experiences and lessons in ways that help them grow. This constant self-reflection leads to greater emotional maturity, and they come to understand their own motivations on a much deeper level. Being a lone wolf means spending time alone, yes, but it's not about being lonely. It's about being comfortable in one's own company and using that time to explore the inner workings of the mind. Lone wolves know that they are their own best company because they understand themselves better than anyone else. This self-knowledge helps them make decisions that align with their true values, and it gives them the strength to stay true to their own path, regardless of the noise around them. If you often find yourself lost in thought, analyzing your life and the choices you've made, if you enjoy deep self-reflection and understanding your own mind, then you are a deep thinker. Introspection is your tool for growth, and it helps you unlock your full potential. This is what allows the lone wolf to stay centered and grounded, even when the world around them is chaotic. And this deep thinking is the key to finding purpose and direction in life. Number 7, preference for solitude. For the lone wolf, solitude is not a burden, it's a gift. It's in those moments of quiet and isolation that they recharge, reflect, and reconnect with their true selves. While some might find solitude lonely or uncomfortable, the lone wolf thrives in it. It's in these moments alone that they find peace, clarity, and the freedom to explore their own thoughts without distractions. Solitude gives them space to breathe, think, and be themselves, without the constant pressure to conform to the expectations of others. Lone wolves value their alone time more than anything else, because it's when they feel most at home. They don't feel drained by solitude. They feel energized. Social interactions, while meaningful, can be overwhelming and exhausting, leaving them feeling mentally depleted. But when they're by themselves, they feel centered, grounded, and recharged. This is when their best ideas emerge, when their creativity flows freely, and when they can truly connect with who they are without the noise of the world around them. The need for solitude doesn't stem from a fear of others. It's simply a recognition that being alone is essential for their well-being. It allows them to stay true to themselves, away from the influences and opinions of the people around them. It's not that they don't appreciate relationships or social connections. It's just that they understand their own needs and know that solitude is a vital part of their emotional and mental health. If you've ever found solace in spending time alone, if you felt a deep sense of peace in your own company, then you likely share this trait with the lone wolf. The preference for solitude isn't about isolation. It's about creating a space where you can be fully present with yourself. In this space, the lone wolf can think clearly, recharge, and come back to the world stronger than before. Solitude isn't their weakness. It's their greatest strength. Conclusion: being a lone wolf is not about isolation. It's about strength, independence, and the courage to stand alone when necessary. It's about recognizing that the path you walk is yours and yours alone, and that it's okay to walk it differently from the crowd. In a world that often pressures us to conform, the lone wolf stands firm, creating their own space, following their own intuition, and trusting their own abilities. They don't need anyone to tell them what to do, because they already know where they're headed. If you've identified with any of these traits, whether it's your independent thinking, your strong work ethic, your emotional resilience, or your preference for solitude, then you're likely a lone wolf too, and there's no shame in that. In fact, there's power in it. The world needs more people who can think for themselves, who are strong enough to walk their own path, and who have the courage to stay true to themselves, no matter what. The lone wolf doesn't fit into the mold, and they don't follow the crowd. They carve out their own space in the world, and they do so with confidence, clarity, and a deep sense of purpose. They know that their journey may not be easy, but it will be worth it, because they are walking it on their own terms. If you've ever felt like you don't quite fit in, or if you've always found comfort in your own company, you're not alone. You are part of a rare breed. People who have the courage to be themselves, even when the world is telling them to be something else. You are strong, capable, and more than enough just as you are. So, embrace your inner lone wolf. Own your individuality. Walk your path with confidence, and know that the strength you hold within yourself is all you need to succeed. The world may not always understand you, but that's okay, because your unique perspective, your self-reliance, and your quiet resilience are the very things that will make you extraordinary. Keep forging ahead. Your journey is uniquely yours, and it's one worth taking.